Hey all, this is Ed Tom. Welcome back for another HellfireComms Patreon Q&A. For May, I figured I'd ask people for E3 related questions, and well actually I don't know if I did that. I may have just dreamed that and people gave me them since E3 is next month, but it all works out in the end, I guess. Quite a short one this month, which works out for me because I've got a lot of work to do right now, so let's get right on into it. First question comes from Ronald D. Ranking. What were some of your favourite past E3 moments? Well, let's see. If we're discounting the bad moments, because I think you're asking me for like the hype stuff, obviously you have Iwata coming out and saying, you want a revolution? Well, we've got one, and holding up that beautiful black box that was the Wii. It would, of course, turn out to not be as hype as everyone thought it would be, but it sold like hotcakes, and it had a few really good games. Obviously, you had the Galaxy games, you had Donkey Kong Country Returns, which I really enjoyed, and you know, stuff like that. Then you have Shiggy coming out with the Master Sword, and you know, one more thing. I think everyone expects one more thing at these E3 conferences now. So definitely stuff like that. I think it was either E3 2016 or 2017 where Nintendo really started to up their like pre-recorded conferences and whatnot. So definitely Nintendo as a whole. Like obviously you have Sony, they had a decent conference like a couple of years ago, and really stuck it to like Xbox with you know, Region 3 and stuff like that. So yeah, plenty of great E3 moments. Why don't you let me know what your favourite E3 moments are in the comments? I'd love to compare them to mine. Thank you, Ronald, for your question. Next up we have a question from Nocturne Privigini. What are your current thoughts on the new game that Koji Igarashi is working on? I'm referring to Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. It's basically Castlevania without it being Castlevania. Ooh, I'm actually quite enjoying what he's put out for Bloodstained thus far. I think it's got a very classic Castlevania inspired prequel game. I think it's Curse of the Moon or whatever, and that's very like up my alley, because I really enjoy Castlevania 1, Castlevania 3, Super Castlevania 4. I'm not sure if like Bloodstained itself is like a Metroidvania sort of Castlevania, but it all looks pretty good, and I wasn't originally going to pick it up. I think I might do now, because the art looks gorgeous, the gameplay looks really solid, character design is great, music is wonderful. So yeah, I think Koji is making a game specifically for me, which, you know, thank you, but maybe other people will enjoy it as well. Thank you, Nocturne, for your question. Next question comes to us from Cruel12. It's another E3 question. E3 is next month. What do you really want from Nintendo, Sony, and the box to announce? Thank you, Cruel. Let's see, from Nintendo, obviously you gotta have your Smash news. I really want an Animal Crossing to be announced, that would be great. Maybe a bit of Metroid Prime 4, even if it's just like a promo trailer, that would be nice. The rumoured Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee games for Pokemon, if we're going to have Kanto remakes, might as well do it now. Hopefully it will at least run at a stable 30 frames per second if it's going to be using the Sun and Moon engine and be on Switch, you know? That's just rumours, that's what I've heard. I expect stuff like Yoshi and whatnot. Maybe a couple of surprises in there will be nice as well, like that rumoured Star Fox Racer thing, and maybe whatever Retro is working on, if it's not the Star Fox Racer. From Sony, I guess Kingdom Hearts stuff. Otherwise, you know, Final Fantasy VII, I guess, and nothing from Xbox. Sorry, I'm just not a Microsoft fan this generation. Thank you, Crawl, for your question. Joe Shanks asks, Dear Mr. Nintendo Man, what games are you expecting to show up at E3? What's your wish list for this year? Kind of sort of the same question as the last one, but I'll try and vary up my response here. Kingdom Hearts 3, for the most part. Like, I'm fully expecting them to show off Big Hero 6 now that development is probably starting to wrap up and whatnot. I hope they fully announce Frozen, because you know Frozen's got to be coming at this point. I've heard rumours of a water-based world, so that actually could be Frozen, but it might be Finding Nemo or Atlantis the Lost Empire as well. Again, from Nintendo, stuff like Pokemon, Smash, etc. So maybe like a Smash reveal or two. Yeah, that's my answer. Thank you, Joe, for your question. Penultimate question we have comes from SilverDude. What would you say is your favourite RPG and why? I thought about this, and I'm going to have to go with Xenoblade Chronicles for the Wii. It's got everything I look for in an RPG. It's got a great story, a lovable cast of characters, combat is fun, especially when it comes to grinding and whatnot, which I think is the real like measuring stick for how well an RPG's like gameplay holds up. Is it still fun to grind and whatnot? And I would say for Xenoblade Chronicles, it is. It's got a wonderful world to explore. Music is fantastic, and I just love all the twists and whatnot, and I think it ends on a really satisfying note. So it's, apart from like maybe the grindy side quests, I'd say it's definitely one of the best RPGs ever made. I'm having a real hard time actually getting into Xenoblade 2 and just sitting down and playing it. Like, it's got a lot of quality of life improvements on the original, but it doesn't feel as satisfying to me so far, and that's fine. You know, I think I'm not sure whether it was Tanner or Mexi who said this, but like Xenoblade, at least in terms of the Chronicles games, could just be different like styles each time. Like Xenoblade 1 is more your classic RPG, number 2 is a little bit more light-hearted, maybe 3 could go back to the more straight-laced stuff. So I will sit down and finish 2 at some point, but the original Xenoblade is definitely my favourite. Thank you, SilverDude, for your question. Finally, we have a question from Shadow Reaper. Do you and the other HFC crew ever meet up for conventions, casual meetups, for a bite to eat, bowling, etc.? Sadly, no, because I am depressed shut-in. But money is also a factor, because a lot of the HFC crew live in America. So if you ever want to help us, like, you know, live the dream and meet up for conventions and whatnot and hang out with fans as well, maybe consider supporting the Patreon and whatnot. Our goal is $900 a month, just to make sure we have enough to pay the co-coms, get the games and whatnot, and I also have a living wage and whatnot, which would be nice. But it would be great to catch up with some pals and whatnot, even if it means like hanging out in England with Richie and Volk and Flame and whatnot. So anything you guys can do to help in that regard would be appreciated. But I would love to hang out with my mates. I think it's been a long time coming, and I will be honest, I get very jealous when I see FDCR and Brain Scratch hanging out at MomoCon and whatnot, because they get to live the dream, and I would like to be a part of a separate, if equal, dream. So thank you, Shadow Reaper, for your question. And that'll do it for the May Q&A HellfireComms Patreon thingamabob. Mixed up my words there, but whatever, I'm on a schedule here. No time for a retake. Thank you guys so much for submitting your questions, and I guess since E3 is next month, there's no need to ask any E3 questions for June's one, so have a think about what you want to ask me, maybe look through old Q&As to make sure you're not asking a repeat, and I'll see you next time for another HellfireComms Patreon Q&A. Bye bye.